What's up, people? What's crack-a-lating? On this day after the fake-ass Caucasian holiday, Labor Day, you labor every goddamn day. Or you get one damn day. But this is the live stream I promised y'all from last week. We did, I did the Moorish symbolism, or Moorish symbolism in movies. I did that about a week ago. You guys seem to like that, and that was off of a suggestion by a brother. Shout out to the brother. Actually, this is actually my wheelhouse, is movies and symbolism, because early on I went to film school, and as I told you in the last video, I wrote that movie, The Black Knight, that Martin starred in. So that was my thing. Early on, I was all about the movie industry. I was in that shit until I went to a party and some fuckery happened at the party. I was like, nah, this ain't for me. But other than that, I still love movies though. That's still like my first love. And so this is why when I got into knowledge, I was able to break down a lot of the symbolism in movies because of film school, what they teach you in film school about everything that's on, everything that you see on the screen in a movie is supposed to be there. I mean, it's there for a specific reason. The director, somebody wanted it in front of the screen, because you have to understand they spend so much money on movies that they can't waste anything. So they can't waste camera time or shot time. This is why they cut so many things out of a movie. So if you see something in a movie, that means that director or producer or somebody wanted you to see it in that damn movie. It was supposed to be there. So that started. That was actually able to juxtapose or coincide my love for movies and knowledge. It both, that was the marriage. And the reason is because movies today are movies are today's modern Bibles. They're today's Bibles. So as in ancient times when they didn't have movies and TV and radio and all the rest of that shit, they told stories, man. It was all about the books and the stories around the fires and in the homes and all that. And they play these stories up. And so that was the big, that was the major thing. And so you had all these allegories, and they would tell, they would teach you life lessons through these stories, and through the symbolism in the stories. That does, it exists today, but more people are about movies today. Still got a lot of people who read, and if you don't read, you with the fuckery. But it's about the movies. They can put so much symbolism in a movie, so much more symbolism in a movie today than they can in a book. I mean, you'll grasp everything because you're visual. Everybody's visual. So even if you're not picking it up consciously, your subconscious is seeing these symbols and all the rest of this shit that's in these movies, and it's picking up on it and it's storing it for later. You may not know that you picked up on it right now, but trust me, your subconscious, especially if it's symbols that are very important to us in our history. What's going on? Symbols that are important to us in our history. Your body, your consciousness, your subconscious will pick up on it and store it for later on, for when you come across something that'll help blossom and grow that information that you once learned. Because sometimes you pick up on information and it's not meant for you right now. That's just the way it is. You're not meant to get it now. And so we struggle. I don't know. Fuck that. That's some dumbass shit, nigga. What the fuck is that? But that means you're not ready for it right now. Just hold on to it. Gain some more information. Keep an open mind, because an open mind, all that means is that you're open to frequencies. You're open to multiple frequencies to come in and give you understanding. So that's all you have to do is sit back, watch these movies, and now that you understand the symbolism in these movies, when I send you back, man, pause the scenes. Look what's going on in the whole damn screen. What's over here on the table? What's on the wall over here? What's on the floor? What the hell is this nigga doing behind the actual star who we're supposed to be focused on? What is the extra doing in the back? All of these things play a part in the symbolism when you're watching these movies. So we're gonna go over a few more today. And also, because we'll be doing this, I'll be doing this periodically. And as I told you guys before, I'm going to be doing a big documentary on it. But that documentary is going to be on Patreon. So, you know, if you can, please get over to patreon.com/realnagas and subscribe to that, because that helps me to put these videos and bring this information out to y'all. Because if I'm not doing that and I have to focus on, you know, making money to eat and pay bills, then I can't give you guys the information that I want to give you. So, you know, it's a marriage. You know, I appreciate you guys helping out. But if you guys can subscribe to that Patreon, that helps a whole lot. Also, if you guys need you guys to cash mob, and especially for this week, I need you guys to cash mob till Friday. If you guys can cash mob me as much as possible till Friday, this great book of melanin research. And we're going to get into the movies today. You're going to see why you need to buy this book, because we're going to get into some movies today that break down melanin. Melanin is the biggest secret that they don't want you to know about. And I know I keep preaching that, and y'all think I keep preaching that because I'm trying to get these books off. But I've had this book for 15 years, and I only just started selling it this year. So I'm not, it ain't about the money. It's about the knowledge and the information is ready to be put out there. But so as far as I'm breaking these movies down, you're going to understand and see in these movies what they're talking about, why your melanin is so revered and so so coveted. You know, they want your melanin, man. They used to sell your melanin as a condiment in bottles. We used to grind up mummies and sell your melanin. So we're going to get into some of that. But if you guys can support, if you get the hard copy melanin research book, I will give you the Know Your Rights manual. We talked about this. The Know Your Rights manual is everything that you, or basic stuff that you need to know when you get stopped by a police officer at a traffic stop. It's going to have 6 basic rules. I put a video out about that, but this is also in written form. But also it has the bond information. I can't tell you how important that bond information is for you to be able to go and place a lien on an officer's bond after they've violated your rights. There's been many things in the news lately where these people are getting railroaded by police officers because they think you don't know your rights. So this, ultimately, my goal is to be able to give this out for free. So, you know, if you want to get one or you want to buy one and donate to somebody, that's great. But ultimately, I want everyone to have these. I want to be able to print these up and then just go out to the hood and hand these out, because everyone needs to have this, because this is truly a way for you to be able to get back when your rights are violated. It's also all of this, everything that comes in here comes from a judge's resource. If I haven't told you that before, I think I have, but I got to have access to a traffic court judge's resource, and I got all of their info. I pulled all of their information and I gave it to you. This is video. This is videos with them talking on on law cases, Supreme Court cases, on what they do to railroad you. It's all in here, and so I need you guys to support this week. If you get the hard copy book, I will give you this and the Know Your Rights card, or the Constitutional Rights card, for free. All right, the hard copy melanin book, you get these for free. All right, so now we got that out of the way. Let's get on with these damn movies. So, first movie that we have is going to be the oh, also before I get into this, because there's so many movies I've seen that I don't even remember, man. I've seen so many damn movies with all this information in it. If you guys want me to break down movies, send me some movies. I will gladly, you know, if I haven't seen it, most likely 8 out of 10, you know, 80%, you know, possibility I've seen it. I've seen the movie already. But send me in the comments, send me movies that you want me to break down, and I'll make this like a bi-weekly thing. You know, every week or every other week, I'll do some movie breakdowns live. You know, and so we can really get the full understanding of what's going on in these movies. So, you know, I got a couple of suggestions that we're gonna go over today. But, you know, again, there's so many movies. You guys are seeing stuff, you know, things that you've seen in the past. Again, if you want me to break that stuff down, get at me, get the movie, send it to me. I'll watch it, boom, pick up, get the information, and we'll do a video on it. But for right now, so the first movie that we're gonna start with is the one that's in the thumbnail, and that's The Empire Strikes Back. If you only knew the power of the dark side. Shout out to Darth Vader. So, if you've seen Star Wars, if you haven't, you've been living on another planet or under a rock somewhere. But the first trilogy, so it comes in 3 trilogies. You know, the first 3 are actually the middle trilogy. So you got the prequels. The prequels came out after in the 2000s. The first 3 came out in 77. Then in the 80s, the other 2 came out in the 80s. And then now you have the last 3 that are coming out. I think the first one 2015, The Force Awakens, then The Last Jedi, and then in December is going to be the Rise of Skywalker. So, but the dopest movie, I ain't even seen the last movie that's coming up, but I already know. I'm gonna tell you right now, the dopest movie out of all these damn movies is The Empire Strikes Back. And that's because that's where they're breaking off all your Moorish knowledge. All your Moorish information is in The Empire Strikes Back. And I mean the information that deals with spirituality, the stuff that we were dealing. So as Moors, we understood we were connected to the All. And if you get the Kabbalion, you'll understand what the All is. The All is every living thing that's in the universe. Okay, and this is what they explain in The Empire Strikes Back. They call it the Force. All right, the Force is just the energy field, the unified energy field of every living thing in existence. All right, and they call this the Force, or we could call it dark energy. Okay, so that's another term for it that they've discovered today. But we've always understood that there was this energy field that we all pull from, that we all come from, and we are all connected to. So this is what's being put out in The Empire Strikes Back. So Luke Skywalker in The Empire Strikes Back, he goes, and this is where he meets Yoda, right? So this is the very first time you see Yoda. He's on this planet called the Dagobah system. He's on like this swamp planet, and he's there, you know, chilling because the Empire had fallen and the Jedi had got wiped out, so he pretty much hiding. And when Luke goes there, because Obi-Wan told him you need to go find Yoda so he can teach you the Force, he goes there, and this is where he breaks him off with the knowledge of the Force. Not only knowledge of the Force, but how to strengthen the mind to do anything that you want to do. This is my main philosophy. Do or do not, there is no try. You've heard me say that a million times. I got that as a sticker over the sink in my kitchen, and it's also my ringtone on my phone. Why? Because there is nothing that you cannot do if you put your mind to it. You have to figure it out. There's nothing that you can't do. Those are only things that you have to figure out. The mode, the method of how to do it. But you can do it if you put enough time and energy into it. And that's what The Empire Strikes Back was breaking off with the Force. But it's so much more than that. Look at the symbolism behind the Empire Strikes Back and Star Wars is so much more than that, especially Darth Vader. And I don't want to give you any spoiler alerts, but damn, the damn movie is 40 goddamn years old, so shit. If you ain't seen the damn movie now, I'm sorry, you're gonna get a couple of spoilers. So in that movie is where Luke Skywalker. So the name. Let's go back a little bit. So the name Darth Vader. Okay, Darth Vader. Vader is German for father, right? So Dark Father, right? So this is the movie. Empire Strikes Back is the movie where Luke Skywalker learns that Darth Vader used to be Anakin, which was his dad. Right? So in the movie, he tells him, you know, join me, you know, we can rule the galaxy. So he's telling him this whole thing. Before he gets to that part, he says, Obi-Wan never told you about your father. And he says, he told me you killed him. And he says, no, I am your father. And then he's like, and he's denying it. No. And he says, search your feelings. You know it to be true. Then he goes, no, he screamed. That is symbolism for, and also you have to understand, look at what Darth Vader looks like. What does his helmet look like? It looks like a big ass penis. That's exactly what it is. You think this motherfucking head look like a big ass dick, and you think that they didn't see that and understand that's what they were doing? So Dark Father, him being a big ass black dick, represents the male of the melanated people, you being the fathers of the planet. And so that realization right there was Caucasians coming to the realization that melanated people or African people were their fathers. They're the fathers of the planet. He goes, no, when he tries to deny it, no. And then the information and the science is undeniable. He's like, search your feelings, you know it to be true. He's like, no! He's screaming because he's like, shit, these motherfuckers are our fathers? Fuck! That's what's in that movie. That's why that movie is so great. and so important. It's the movie that shows you how Caucasians had to come to grips with the fact that melanated people, or the melanated man, African man, was or are their fathers and grandfathers and mothers. So great, ill movie. And I don't want to break, I don't want to do too many spoilers, because you need to go watch that movie and watch how Yoda breaks him off, because he's also teaching him about the Force and the dark side, the difference between the dark side and the light, and what leads you to the dark side of the Force. And so, which is fear, anger, and aggression. Once you give in to that, and we always talked about fear in my other videos, fear is a frequency. It's a low vibrational frequency. And so it leaves you wanting. It cuts you off from the universe, from the Force. So when you're only working out of fear, you're imbalanced. Okay, you're polarized and imbalanced. So in that movie, he talks about he learns about where the dark side comes from, and how to channel that, and not be captured by it. So illest movie is literally, I've told you guys before, my top 2 movies of all time are The Matrix and The Empire Strikes Back. It doesn't even compare. They're in a class by themselves. No other movie can touch those 2 as far as symbolism. You show me a and Dragon Slayer. Sorry, that's 3. But Dragon Slayer is more about the Moorish symbolism. But I'll put it up there. So it's my 3 top movies for symbolism is Dragon Slayer, Matrix, and The Empire Strikes Back. So, moving on to the next movie. Next movie is a spoof of Star Wars. That's called Spaceballs. I don't know if you guys ever seen Spaceballs, but this is about the Jews, or the Khazars, who run Hollywood. Again, they have these little secret societies where they break off this information, and then they disseminate it and say, okay, look, this is what we're going to tell the public. We're going to hold this back. We're going to tell this to the public, or we're going to disguise this. And so a lot of this, where you see these things that look coincidental in these movies, are not. So the creator of Spaceballs is Mel Brooks, also another Jewish cat, like George Lucas. Just so you guys know, George Lucas is in the Knights Templar. Him, Steven Spielberg, they're Knights Templar members, and so that's in the York Rite. They're in well, you can get it from either Rite, but it's usually in the York Rite of Freemasonry. You got 2 sides of Freemasonry, which is Scottish Rite and York Rite. York Rite, a lot of York Rite deals with the Knights Templars, and so this is where they put a lot of your information out. So just so you guys know, just give you back before we get back into that. The Knights Templars are a Moorish Christian group. Okay, so the history of the Knights Templars, when they went into Jerusalem, they went into Jerusalem to take they had Jerusalem for about 80 years, and then Saladin. We talked about this in the Kingdom of Heaven. If you go watch the Kingdom of Heaven movie, you'll see Saladin comes back into Jerusalem. He takes Jerusalem, but he doesn't kill everybody. So a lot of the people that he left alive were a lot of the Knights Templars. The Knights Templars were in control of there was a bank. See, this is what they don't tell you. This is history you don't understand and you don't learn. There was a banking system that the Moors had, and the center of the banking system was in Jerusalem. So they had a lot of underground tunnels where they used to traffic the money. You can go, and there was a History Channel did a show on this, the treasure of the Knights Templars, where they found this. But it wasn't the treasure of the Knights Templars, it was the treasure of the Moors, that when the Knights Templars took over Jerusalem, they took over the bank that the Moors had established, right? So then the Knights Templars had become known as the creators of the banking system. But they didn't create the banking system, they just took it over. Saladin comes back in, excuse me. So Saladin comes back in, and he takes over Jerusalem. But what he does is, since they had been running the bank for about a good 80 years with no problems, he's not going to upset the system as well. And also because Saladin wasn't about this, I got to slash everything, kill everything. He was about, look, what works, we'll keep that in play as long as y'all understand what system is running shit. So as the Knights Templars, he just basically made them convert to Islam. So as they converted to Islam, that was their secret religion. On top, they're still worshiping, Christ or whatever it is, Christianity. On the low, they were Moors. They were converted to Islam. So you'll know that you can see this if you go to the Knights Templar Museum in Washington, Virginia. Okay, it's actually the George Washington Masonic Museum, but at the very top they have a Knights Templar room, and you can go see the Moorish symbolism with all the crescents in the room. Anytime you see a crescent in the ancient times, it mostly meant Islam. Just so you guys know, crescent. So when you see crescent symbolism in movies, it means Islam. So going back to so George Lucas, Steven Spielberg are Knights Templars, which means they're Moors on the low. Which is why if you go and look at another movie that we're about to talk about in a minute, it's Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Okay, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And in that movie, well, first I'll explain the Knights Templar symbolism in that movie in a second. But I want to get back to Star Wars real quick. I'm just explaining the secret societies that allows them to come out and put this symbolism in these movies that that are hiding it from you. So George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, Knights Templars. I don't necessarily know that Mel Brooks is a Knights Templar, but through the symbolism in his movies like History of the World and Spaceballs, you can kind of infer that he knew a lot. He was a secret society cat. So in Spaceballs, it's a spoof of The Empire Strikes Back, where the leader of it is called Lone Star. And incidentally, going back to Star Wars, there's a reason his name is Luke Skywalker. Most people don't even put that together. Luke Skywalker. Who were the slaves that the Moors who were the Christian slaves that the Moors used to snatch up? Mamluk, Luke Skywalker. You start to see this damn symbolism play out eventually. So, getting back to Spaceballs. So Spaceballs, see? So again, they have the helmet that looks like a penis, but now they're dealing with the balls. You think penis, balls. You still ain't put this shit together. Now, in the Spaceball or in Spaceballs, what is the Force called? It's not called the Force. It's called the Schwartz. The Schwartz. What is Schwartz? Schwartz is German for black, but not black, dark. So it's the dark. Again, the power is the dark. So they go through the Force and may the Schwartz be with you and all this and that. Man, go look at these goddamn movies. Yes, Swarthy. It produced the word Swarthy and all the rest of those words. It means dark. So, again, like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Schwarzenegger means black. It means dark nigga. So, again, get your history, get your etymology going. So, that's another movie that tried to comically break off the symbolism. So, the next one is The Golden Child. The Golden Child. So, The Golden Child, everybody knows Eddie Murphy. It's with Eddie Murphy, and that's basically it's actually considered one of his worst movies, but it's the movie that was breaking down the biggest or the most symbolism, with him being the chosen one, right? In this movie, was a melanated dude the chosen one? Like, what? Really? But again, they're breaking you off. Then what does he do? He has to go to Tibet to secure the dagger in order to save the Golden Child, which is supposed to save humanity, right? It's the compassion for the world that saves humanity. But the whole thing about the symbolism in that was when Eddie Murphy was going to get all of his information about the Golden Child, he was going to, I forgot the lady's name, but the whole point of why she knew, she was like a person who could tell the future and history and all that stuff. But the reason that she could do that is because she was part dragon, because she was, and the history was she was raped by a dragon. Yeah, the dragon mother. And so she was raped by a dragon, which is why she knew all this stuff. She had, again, the sight. Again, dragon meaning clear sight or third eye, which is, you got to understand, you are everywhere. There is not anything in movies that is not about the ancient symbolism and ancient science and knowledge that you used to work and master. You had mastered it. You have mastered it, but then they regurgitate this shit to you, and you don't know shit about it. This is all new to you. Oh, damn, nigga, that shit is crazy. Nigga, the golden child. You see the golden child, nigga? Hey, nigga, that nigga Eddie Murphy was funny as fuck, wasn't he? That nigga was crazy, nigga. You see that shit? Nigga, the bitch was a bitch. She was a dragon and shit. Oh, nigga, that shit was crazy. Nigga, that's all about you, Nagas. That lady was a Naga. That's what she was representing. So, again, go back, watch your information. And watch your history. So getting back, so before we get into this, I was gonna lead into this next movie, Venom. I had to go back to The Last Crusade. All right. So Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade. Very, very ill movie, breaking off the Crusades and really what the Crusades were about. Hold on, excuse me. Hey, man. Alright, sorry y'all. The day I decided to do a goddamn live stream, they don't never fucking come around here and do no damn gardening. The day I want to do a live stream, these motherfuckers want to garden and shit. Really? You know, some evil forces in the universe don't want you to get this damn knowledge. But, so going back, so Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade deals with Indiana Jones's father was taken up, and again, when they say The Last Crusade, what are they talking about? Who is the Crusades against? The Crusades were against you, the Moor, the dragon Moor. So in that movie, they're all fighting against Muslims, even though it's supposed to be Germany, but they're really fighting against their Moors in that, with the fezzes and all these cats, and they're supposed to be the ones protecting the treasure. So there's Germans and the Americans are trying to rob the treasure. And then the Moors are trying to save the treasure, but they make the Moors look like they're the evil motherfuckers for trying to save the treasure. So, but in that movie, what they show you is that they were trying to find this treasure, and there was these Christian knights who protected this treasure. Now, if you don't know the symbolism of the Knights Templars and know that secretly they worship Islam, you would never pick this up. But they threw this right in the movie for you. So where did they hide the secret treasure? They were looking for the Holy Grail. Okay, so these knights, this Christian order knights, they were the protectors of the Holy Grail. So they hid it in this place, in this temple, where? In the Valley of the Crescent. Again, the Crescent, showing you that it's your shit. Now, when they go find this, when they go down to the Valley of the Crescent and they go find where these Moors, they had to find the symbolism. These I think it was a mausoleum or the crypt where these Moors, not the Moors, but these knights were kept, because they had to find certain clues. When you open it, there was crescent on on the knights. So the knights have like this sword, right? So the sword, most swords in Christian time were just a cross. Their sword is a cross. There's one thing like this, and it's a crescent going up across like that, letting you know again that underlying the Christianity was Islam. So again, though, you'll never pick up on any of this stuff if you don't know your history. As well, if you don't know anything about secret societies. Secret societies are the shit that runs all of this. Okay, if you don't understand your secret society knowledge, you're not gonna know any of this shit. So, Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade is all about the underlying or the Knights Templars, their underlying religion being Islam, and you can go break that whole shit down. And the people who made that movie was George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, two of the major Knights Templars in that order. doing movies. They're the two main dudes, the two biggest dudes doing movies in Hollywood, and they're the two of the main order people in that order. So go check that out. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. So more movies dealing about your melanin. Venom. Okay, so Venom is the symbiote that was attached to Spider-Man. And then, if you guys seen the movie, Venom is a super melanated symbiote that was from outer space that came back, that hitchhiked a ride with some astronauts. Came back, it got attached to Spider-Man, and it was making Spider-Man more aggressive. Now, the other thing to watch is that every time you see the Dark come out, or anything that deals with the dragon or anything like that, it's always going to make you evil or aggressive, overly aggressive. So the symbiote, when Spider-Man, when it attached itself to Spider-Man, it made him crazy gangster. Like, it made him super strong. Like, even Spider-Man is crazy strong as he is. This motherfucker can catch a goddamn car and throw it and all kind of hold big ass boats together and shit. Have you seen the movie? So when the symbiote got on him, though, it like tripled his strength. So he was even stronger than that, to where, if you don't know the movies, he was able to beat Rhino. Rhino was like one of the strongest villains in Spider-Man's in Spider-Man world. And he was able to beat Rhino with no problem. So letting you know, the darker is more physical. He's more physically gifted, being darker or melanated. But it also made him more gangster, angry. Here comes the angry black man. So, and also now so that was just Spider-Man, but also in the movie Venom. So after Spider-Man, he gets the symbiote off. The symbiote attaches to a reporter who didn't like Peter Parker, which was Eddie Brock. So him and Eddie Brock, they get together now. Venom is all by himself. Now again, what is Venom's weakness? Vibration. That was the same. That's how Spider-Man got him off. The symbiote wouldn't leave Spider-Man. The more you use it, or the more it stayed on, the more Spider-Man loved it, and became attached to it. So in order to get it off, he had to go into, and this is not a movie. This is dealing with the cartoon spilling over into the movie. So the cartoon, he had to go to like this bell tower, and the bell tower, the vibration from the bell, it made the symbiote so crazy that it jumped off. Now what happened? They moved that over to the movie that just came out. Same thing. Eddie Brock, he had the symbiote on him. When they were on this rocket, when the rocket would fire, the vibration of the rocket would disrupt the symbiote. So again, they're showing you, your melanin. It's all about melanin. What picks up, what is super sensitive to frequency and vibration? Melanin. Just like in the Black Panther suit absorbs melanin and redistributes it for energy. That's exactly what your melanin does. Man, your melanin is so ill, y'all have no idea how sick your melanin is. Your melanin is so ill, it uses everything and transmutes it to energy, like sound. So meaning like, this is because if you're not around the sun, it needs to use something to be able to give you energy. So when you bump on a table, your melanin absorbs that vibration and frequency and converts it to energy. That's in this fucking book. No matter whatever it is, a fart. Your melanin absorbs the frequency and vibration of a fart and converts it to energy. Y'all don't even know that. Anything that deals with light. That's why a lot of brothers like to sleep with the TV on. Motherfuckers be going to sleep. Most every motherfucking nigga I know love to sleep with the TV on. That's because your melanin is receiving that energy and frequency and that light. So Venom was just showing you again, playing up on the melanin, the power and what the melanin can do. Moving right along, keeping along with that goes into Spawn. You guys know about Spawn. So Spawn was more of a cartoon. It became more known as the cartoon on cable. But it was a movie first with Michael Jai White, and that movie became stupid as fuck. But it was breaking off though. Spawn basically he was a cop. He was a brother. He was a cop. He died. He went to hell, and the Satan or whoever wanted to use him as a soldier for his army. So he gave him this suit, this super suit, and sent him back to do his bidding on Earth, right? But when he gets back, so the suit basically is all melanated, right? It's a suit, but it thinks on its own. So whenever, and it also thinks on its own, but it's connected to Spawn, his thoughts, and whatever he thinks, he can create with the suit. Like whatever, no matter, his power is only limited by his imagination. So, but even when he's in danger and he's not thinking, the suit acts on its own. The same thing with you. Your melanin does that. The reason you get darker is because wherever the sun is blazing on your skin the most, your melanin goes to that part because that's the part that's getting the most UV rays. That's why you get darker in that area. It's like, and it doesn't waste any energy. It's like, okay, I don't need to darken this whole area. This is the part right here. This only little part right here is getting more sun than everything else. So let's send more melanin to that part to block out just that. Again, thinking on its own. Your melanin is a supercomputer. They understand this. Most coveted substance in the world. Again, oil is melanin. On a scientific level, this is what they call it. Oil, it powers everything. So if you extrapolate that and you think everything that you know in existence comes from something dark, coal or petroleum, oil out of the ground. Now they're using nuclear power and shit like that, but other than that, it has to come from something dark. What do you think that's? Again, that's in your skin. They know this, and they put it in a movie because you around here fucking around and using it to rap. And dunk on niggas. That's what you using your melanin for. Great, darky. Great. You use it, you dunk all you want, darky. Oh my God, a 360 dunk. That was awesome. Nigga, that's what they saying to your ass. So, that's Spawn. Next movie, 300. I know you guys seen 300. And that's a fairly recent movie dealing with the Spartacus, the Spartans, Spartacus, and all the rest, or the Spartans. Period. Just not Spartacus, but the Spartans. Their victory over the Persians. So when you hear these terms, Persian and Iraq and Middle East and all the rest of it, this is Africa, man. All that area, this is all regions of Africa, just separated by a little body of water, still the same region. So Persia were the Moors, which is why the very first scene, the dude who goes to see, I forgot the main dude's name in 300, who the main Spartan dude, but it was the super dark melanated Moor. What was the name? Yeah, this is Sparta. When he kicked the Moor in the pit. This is Sparta! When he kicked him, you see that super melanated brother? That's a Moor. That's what they really look like. And then they get to Xerxes, who was the supposed to be the Moor that was controlling them all, and he's this light-skinned brother. Why? Because they can't show you as the super melanated brother smacking ass. They can't show you in your true form as the highly melanated brother. Now, again, we come in all shapes and we come in all shades, so it doesn't matter if he's a light-skinned brother to the darkest brother to the lightest brother. We know who we are, but they can't put that thought in your head, that visual in your head that dark skin means power. They cannot let you correlate that. Wait a minute. Wait. That dark-skinned nigga was the most powerful motherfucker in the world? At that time, had an empire? Wait a minute, hold up. How come I ain't learned nothing about this shit in school? Because, Darky, we didn't want you to know that you were the gods of the earth and that you could take this shit back over at any time once you realize who you are. That's why. So, again, 300 deals with a small one. And again, when you see these wars where where you see Christians and the Vikings and their battles over Islamic armies and Muslim armies. This is because those battles were so far and few in between that they have to play them up when they won. They barely won any battles in these crusades, dude. It was like 15 or something. It was less than that. They only instituted 15 battles, but I think they actually won less than that 15. So, but we had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of battles that we just smacked their ass forever. But you'll see a movie like 300, which is one out of the handful, not even a full hand that they won. So they have to again play this shit up so that you can't understand who you used to be and try to regain that power. Another movie, Dragonheart. Okay, Dragonheart. That's a movie with Dennis Quaid, and I forgot any of the other stars in that movie, but Dennis Quaid, he plays he's a knight who's to this king, and this king, I forgot the first part of the movie, but the king somehow dies, and his son becomes the king. But what happens is the son somehow becomes ill, and he's getting ready to die. So they take him. This is a magical movie. So a dragon, there's dragons in this land, and there's a dragon who's alive, and so they take the son to go see this dragon, and the dragon heals the son, the prince, who eventually becomes king by basically attaching his heart. So the son's heart was failing or something. So the dragon gave him some of his heart. I forgot how he did it. So this is why it's called Dragonheart. So the king, the prince boy, somehow, he gets the dragon's heart and he grows up. Now, the boy was supposed to be this good prince. He was a good little boy when he was young with all this and that. And so Dennis Quaid was this, this good knight who was supposed to be raising this motherfucker. But he raised him, and the dude was just a bad, evil, punk, bitch ass motherfucker. He just had an attitude. He like smacking motherfuckers up. He was evil. And so the symbolism in that is showing you again, the dragon was evil. Because the kid was supposed to be this good motherfucker before he gets the dragon heart, and then he grows up to be this evil motherfucker. That's the Western, that's the European version of who the Moor was. You were this evil nigga because you came in and you snatched up the kids and the women and you put the smack down. That's just how it was. And I'm not laughing, but man, we did that for many thousands of years, like 1,000 years here, 1,000 years there. You were always smacking ass. So in the Dragonheart, the dragon turns the prince evil, and then you can go watch the movie if you want to see how that ends up. But he turned out to be a motherfucker, and all just because he had the dragon's heart. And you couldn't kill the king unless you killed the dragon, because the dragon was eternal. See, the dragon was eternal, and you had to kill the dragon in order to kill the king, the prince who had became king. So that's an ill movie. Another movie, and I just thought about this before we did the live stream, is Dungeons and Dragons. All right, Dungeons and Dragons. That's a movie, I forgot when that came out, early 2000s. It's with an actor named Jeremy Irons. He did a show called The Borgias. But Jeremy Irons and the other person who's in that movie is Marlon Wayans. So Marlon Wayans plays this punk ass jester, the buffoonery. He does what he does. Marlon Wayans is a funny motherfucker. Like, if you ever just heard Marlon Wayans talking, he's a very smart, funny dude just as himself. But his art is buffoonery. So in this movie, he was like this court jester, crazy motherfucker buffoon. But it was dealing with the Dungeons and Dragons, like the Dungeons and Dragons lore, the game and all that. So in that movie, though, you had the sorcerer who was Jeremy Irons, who was trying to capture the power of the dragon. because and they were real dragons. Like they was flying these dragons, so they had like this armada of dragons, and those who controlled the dragon had the greatest power in the world. So it was a battle between him and I think this princess girl who also controlled dragons. So it was the difference. It was like golden dragons and red dragons. And you can see again the golden dragon, the good dragons, the red dragons, the evil dragon. Man, it's been playing out in movies forever. Golden dragon was again a dragon who will smack you up. I explained this last time. There's two types of dragons: golden dragon and the dark dragon. Golden dragon was a motherfucker who would smack you up, but he'd rather holler at you first. But he may only holler at you one time, maybe twice if you like it. You know, the dark dragon ain't gonna yell at you at all. What did I say? he gonna smack you first and ask questions later. That's how dark dragon is. Golden dragon is gonna be a little bit more diplomatic. So, but in that movie, they show you the golden dragon and the red dragon, which is really supposed to be the dark dragon. So, Dungeons and Dragons. Don't pay attention to Marlon Wayans' buffoonery. I like to call it, you know, the merger of buffoonery and coonism, and I call it buccoonery. So that's kind of what he was in that movie, because you know, early on, you know, it's in order. Oh, good looking out. And early on in those type of movies, especially in the early 2000s, you weren't gonna get no major roles in movies like that. You know, that was a big budget movie because it had a lot of CGI and stuff like that. So he had to play the buffoon in the movie. Now, he was the best friend of the hero, which is obviously he was Caucasian, but you know what I'm saying, it was some bullshit. But you know what I'm saying, it's not necessarily a great movie, but it's a great movie to go and watch your symbolism. Okay, if you're into your knowledge and your symbolism, you have to go and watch these movies in order to really regain the information, because they're only going to put it in the movies because they've told you that the movies aren't real. So they think they can put everything in a movie and then have it fly by you. It's going to go over your head because they'd already told you movies are bullshit. So Dungeons and Dragons. Prince of Persia. That's the other one. Prince of Persia is a movie with Jake Gyllenhaal. That's right, Jake Gyllenhaal, same motherfucker who was in the Spider-Man movie that just came out. That white motherfucker, that Caucasian motherfucker. He was playing a Persian. Oh, good looking out, appreciate you. He was playing a Persian. The reason I'm telling you to go watch, obviously that movie is bullshit right off the bat. Obviously we've just dealt with 300, which the Persians were Moors, which were dark-skinned brothers. But in that movie, that whole movie is fantasy, pretty much. But what they show you in the movie, which is the main part of why I want you to go see it, about the assassins. Okay, so the assassins, you know, in the word assassin, where that came from, was the Moors. Because the Moors, they were called Hashishans, because they used to smoke hashish before they used to go and smack niggas up. And they used to smoke hash, basically weed. Hash is like for you guys that don't know, it's resin. It's like weed resin. So they used to smoke that and then go do their dirt. You know, so again, they would get visions, and you know, they would say it would help them. You know, it would help their art to be able to kill and shit like that. Also, I think it was a god of hashish that they used to worship. So again, but it was all about the Moors, and in that whole movie deals with the assassins or the Hashishans, and they show you how they smoking that hash before they go do their dirt and kill. So go peep that movie, Prince of Persia, breaking off your Moorish assassin. Where they got that? Also, Assassin's Creed. If you don't know about, that's a video game, Assassin's Creed. That whole movie deals with the assassins, the whole order of assassins, and them being Moors. That literally the whole movie. And the main dude from that is the cat who played Magneto in the X-Men movies. So go check that out. That's Assassin's Creed. It's not necessarily a great movie, but it does show a lot of Moorish symbolism in that movie. So again, we don't always watch movies because we want a good movie. We watch the movies because we're getting information. This movie is good. It's not a bad movie. Let me just say that. It's not a bad movie. It's just not like a blockbuster, some type of shit like that. But it's a dope. It got dope fighting in it and everything. So Go check that movie out. Another movie, Mission to Mars. Mission to Mars. So this is a movie with Don Cheadle. Okay. And they go, these is Don Cheadle, Tim Robbins, dude from Shawshank Redemption, and a couple other people. Gary Sinise, I think. And they go to, they fly this mission to Mars. And when they get on Mars, so if you don't know about Mars, the history or the mystery of Mars, there's a giant face on Mars, right? And they won't tell you about it. There's the site on Mars is called Cydonia with a C. So look that up, Cydonia, Cydonia. And it's a place on Mars that mimics Kemet. It looks just like Kemet. They've superimposed Kemet right on top of Cydonia and Mars. It's the exact same thing. It has 3 pyramids, just like the Gaza Strip, and also has the face that looks just like a sphinx. That's you. So showing that we were on Mars first, and then we came here. So, but if you understand, you go do the history of your Anunnaki. It tells you that the Anunnaki used to use Mars as a base before they came here. That was the base where they did the experiments before they made you. That's where they made you, on Mars, and then they brought your ass here. So in this movie, Mission to Mars, they go to Mars, and there's only one brother there. What did I just say? Don Cheadle. So Don Cheadle, they go to Mars, and somehow they go to Mars. Don Cheadle gets left on Mars, but then they go back, right? See, they find we got to go back to Mars because we left the motherfucker on Mars. So they get back there, most everybody dead except Don Cheadle, the brother. So when they get there, Don Cheadle done figure out a way to how to live on Mars. He done figure out a way to irrigate Mars and create plant life. So he got food and shit. This nigga got a crazy half afro and shit, like Martin did. If you seen that episode of Martin where he went crazy and went to and took off and went to the religious temple where he got a half afro and half braids. That's kind of like what Don Cheadle had. So they go there, and when they go to rescue Don Cheadle, what happened? How Don Cheadle got left? The first mission to Mars, there was this face on Mars. They went and they showed you that there was a face on Mars. So, but when they showed you the face, it didn't look anything like the real face that's on Mars. It was this non-melanated Caucasian face with this pointy ass nose and no lips. I'm like, they are so full of shit. So of course they're gonna show you the face on Mars, but they're gonna make that face look as Caucasian as possible. You understand me? As Caucasian as possible. So what happened was, when they went to this face, the face, it was actual base. It would open up. Where they didn't notice at first, but when they got close to the face, there was like this this force would come out, and if you weren't the right people, it would rip your ass to shreds. So Don Cheadle was the only one left alive from the first mission. So they send somebody else there to go save him. Again, now that's where they get there. This nigga he been chilling, growing plants, eating and shit, letting you know that the Moors got that green thumb. But then when they go back to the face, they like, look, we need to go back to that face and see what happened. When they went to the face this time, something happened. It was some music. The face, in order for you to be able to resonate with the face, you had to play a certain tone or something like that. And when you did that, the face opened up. When they went inside, it was a base. It was an extraterrestrial base. They get inside the base, and then they meet these extraterrestrials who show them this hologram of how they created the humans on Earth. They show you the whole thing of how they seeded the planet with spores. Where they got this is literally the exact doctrine from the Anunnaki, from Sumeria, the tablets of creation, the Enuma Elish tablets of creation. This is exactly where they got this from in this movie. Talks about how the Anunnaki seeded the earth with spores, and then they let those spores grow out of the earth, and then you became fish, and then mammals, and then you crawled onto the earth and you became men. It shows this in holographic form. The aliens are showing the humans how they created life on Earth. This is crazy. Literally copying the story out of the Enuma Elish or the Sumerian tablets. So again, that's your history being played back to you. Go watch that shit. A couple of more. Then that's it. So the last two. This one is not a movie. This is a TV show. The Outer Limits. So it was part of the new Outer Limits. And now it was actually in the 90s though. So I guess they called it the new Outer Limits. So back then, or I forgot what the actual name was. But in this Outer Limits, who was in there? Kirsten Dunst was in there. I think that's the main actor you would know. And Joshua Jackson. I don't know if y'all know Joshua Jackson. He's been in the gang shit. But Kirsten Dunst, who was Mary Jane in the first Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire, she was in this TV show. So the episode you want to look up is called Music of the Spheres. Very important. It's called Music of the Spheres. And in this episode, there's this weird tape going around playing some crazy ass music. Now the young people when they play it sounds like crazy ass noise, but to the young people, it sounds like music. They hear it and they love it and they're falling in love with it and it puts them in a trance. But older people can't hear it. They're like, this just sounds like some crazy bullshit, some noise. And so they're trying to figure out what this shit is. So ultimately, the kids are start to become sick. Anybody who listens to the frequency of the tape, they become sick. And then, they go into this trance and they damn near die or whatever, right? So it turns out though that the reason that only kids could hear it was because it was a frequency sent here by aliens. Now this is some ill shit going back to who you actually are. So what the frequency was for was that the Earth was getting ready to go into a new cycle, right? What they call the new sun cycle. This is true. This is actually going on right now. The Earth is moving into a new sun cycle. Go look that up, where the sun is getting stronger. This is why it's so hot. A lot of it, they're telling you it's climate change. It is climate change. It's because though we're moving into a sun cycle. Not all of it is because of humans. So, but in this movie, they're showing you that the new sun cycle is coming, right? This is the whole thing about the Mayans and their calendar ending, because it was there in that Bactune, you were entering a new cycle, the sun cycle now. So this is all playing out in this little episode called Music of the Spheres. And so this frequency, again, everything is frequency, tone, and vibration. This frequency would put these little kids in a trance, and it was transforming their body. So it was putting them in a cocoon. And then towards the end, what happened was when they came out of this cocoon, these motherfuckers were gold. They were gold, like gold and purple. And that was because this new sun was so strong, the UV rays coming off the sun. So the sun would be purple, right? The sun was like super purple. And it was shooting out these UV rays. And so when it shot it at the people, it was turning the new people of the earth. It was transforming you to get you ready for the new sun cycle. And you would turn your skin into gold, basically showing melanin, so that you would be able to absorb the new sunlight and reflect the UV rays. So at the end of the movie, when they're showing all the kids and everybody who turned into this gold, now everybody didn't. Some of the older people who couldn't hear the frequency, they decided to stay inside during the day. When the new sun cycle, they're like, fuck it, we too old for this shit. We just gonna stay inside. But all the people who turned gold, they would go outside, and when the new sun came, it reflected off of them, and everybody turned purple. Purple. Violet, ultraviolet, showing you they're reflecting the ultraviolet rays. That is an ill episode right there. I saw that in the 90s, and I didn't even know what the fuck I was looking at. This is before I was on any of this shit. I didn't know anything about the power of melanin or none of that. I was like, damn, these motherfuckers are turning gold? That's crazy. I just thought it was a dope-ass episode. Didn't come to find out, we're moving into a new sun cycle, which our melanin is protecting us from, which is why Caucasians are trying to do something now called tying into the vine. This is why you'll see interracial relationships a lot more prevalent on TV. You'll see on commercials, you know, mostly you'll see Caucasian husbands with melanated wives. That's what they're trying to play up. They're trying to show you that Caucasian or melanated women want more than Caucasian men, but that's not. But then they'll also show you the melanated man and the Caucasian woman. And they're trying to get this, normalize this into your mind now about mixing and blending, because they know they're dying out. They're melanin, and they've done the study that they're dying out, and they have to tie into the vine because you need melanin to survive on this planet. And then they show you this in a damn TV show called The Outer Limits, Music of the Spheres, knowing that everything is frequency and vibration. So basically it was raising their frequency in order to change them into a being that would be able to absorb higher frequency. Do y'all understand who y'all fucking are? Man, I'm trying to show, man, really, this has to, in order for you to get back to who you used to be, you have to understand what you can do. You have to. It's not even a question. It's not a debate. If you don't understand what this is a basic, this is basic. It's not just, hey, everybody's a different color. Why are you a different color? And what the fuck does that do? What is that substance, that chemical? What does it do? It does every fucking thing. And then some. And they putting all of this shit in these damn movies to show you. Again, Outer Limits, Music of the Spheres. One of the greatest episodes they have. And then the last one I'm just going to mention, it's not a movie that's out yet. It's a movie that's coming out. If you're Marvel fans, you're movie fans, you know they just released was about to be phase 4 of Marvel. And they're about to and so they have TV shows that's going to stream on Disney Plus, which is like The Mandalorian and all the rest of these. Mandalorian deals with Star Wars. Then they have Falcon and Winter Soldier, WandaVision, which is Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, and Vision from the Marvel movies. But then they also want to have stuff that you haven't seen, and one of the movies is called Moon Knight. Right? So he's a character from the comics. Go back, and so he's supposed to be like Marvel's Batman. So you got Batman, who's the Dark Knight. He wears all black. Then you have Moon Knight in Marvel. Moon Knight wears all white. Now, let's get this straight. We understand who this motherfucker really is. What is Moon Knight's major symbol? And what is his gadgets and superpowers? So basically he has gadgets just like Batman. He's a dude just like that. He has super skill, he can fight and all this and that like Batman. But what happened was he was a bad dude or like a mercenary or something. And he was fighting in Kemet, and then something had happened where he was going to die. And then this Egyptian god came back and said, look, I'm going to embody you with my energy and power, and you're going to be my surrogate here on the planet and do my bidding. A Kemetan god, the Moor. So the Moor, this dude was imbued with Moorish energy, the Moorish god energy, and now he comes back, and how he's this surrogate for this Egyptian god, a Kemetan Egyptian god, in real life. His whole thing, he wears white, just like the Muslims do in the desert. People who wear white, man, they got you believing black and white, and bad guys wear black and good guys wear white. Let me tell you something, motherfucker, only you wore white because it reflects the sunlight. It kept you cooler in the darker area, in the darker regions where we're from. You wore white, Caucasians wore black because they have to absorb more sunlight in the regions where they're from. So people who wear black were the Caucasians, the niggas who wore white were you, the Moors in the desert. So his whole thing is white. Now, what is his gadgets? He wears this mask. What's the symbol on the fucking mask? A crescent. Right on his motherfucking forehead. Motherfucking crescent. What are his gadgets? Are crescents. He like throw crescent boomerangs and shit like that. Again, showing you who the fuck you are. This motherfucker, he's the Moor superhero, or the Moorish Batman. So more so Marvel than DC. And Jack Kirby wrote a lot of the, or he created a lot of the characters for both, but more so Marvel deals with a lot of your history as Moors than DC does. DC does too, especially with Superman being the S, the Uraeus symbol for serpent and the, you know, and the third eye and all the rest of that. Wonder Woman being Queen Calliope. If you don't know who Queen Calliope is, she's the true Amazon, where they get all the Amazonian and the Wonder Women from. She was Queen Calliope. So California, there was this woman who lived in California. Her name was Queen Calliope. So go look her up, Queen Calliope. And she was the major motherfucking, they had all these Amazonian women who used to smack ass. So that's where they get Wonder Woman. So they are dealing with a lot of your stuff in DC, but Marvel kills your shit. Marvel just took all your history and rolled with it. Like, fuck it, nigga, this is our shit now, nigga. Thank you, we appreciate it. So, again, all of the symbolism, you know, they're going to show most of what you used to be and all of your knowledge. They're going to put it in these movies because they know you think movies are bullshit. They know you're just going to let this shit go right over your head. They know that most people, whenever you see a movie, the very first time you see a movie, you only remember 18 to 30% of the movie which you saw. And how many of you go back and watch the movie again to pick up shit that you didn't see? Most of you don't. Most people don't. And then when you see a movie the second time, you've only captured about 30 to 50% of the movie because you're distracted. But your subconscious is catching all of it, just so you know. But you want to be conscious of the things so that you can take advantage of them. So please go back and watch these movies. If you want me to break down movies, I will break down movies all day. Y'all see I'm a movie dude. This is how I get down. You know, so again, I went to film school. I was one of them gangster nerds back in the day. I would smack the shit out of you, but I'd watch more Marvel movies with you or play video games with you. So if y'all want me to break down more movies, send them in the text or email me the movies that y'all want me to break down. And on the next one, I'll do that. So I'll keep the live movie breakdowns going. But again, I'm going to do the major documentary on it. And y'all seen my documentaries. I put those, you know how I put those together. It takes some time and editing. So that's going to be on Patreon. So please get on over to Patreon and subscribe, because that helps me to keep doing this information and bring it out to you. And also I told you guys, if you guys sign up at the $50 level on Patreon, I'm going to give you the the constitutional rights card for free, and also you're going to get the Know Your Rights manual and the constitutional rights card for free. All right, and that's if you sign up at the $50 level on Patreon. But also, I need you guys to cash mob me as much as possible by Friday. Okay, so anybody who gets this hard copy book, I will give you the package for free as well. So you're going to get this, and I will also send you the digital copy of the Melanin book. So you get the hard copy, you'll get the digital copy. All right, so that you can show it to your friends, or you can make another copy if you want. And I will give you the Know Your Rights manual and the constitutional rights card for free. So you're gonna get a gang. That's like $250. Actually, excuse me, $350 worth of stuff, and I'll give it to you for the price of the hard copy book. All right. So again, I need your help on that one. Cash mob, and send me your movies. Send me your movies. I need more movies. If you've seen some shit that you think breaking off something in those movies, get at me. I'll go watch that movie, and I'll bring it and I'll dissect pretty much everything that I can that they were trying to break off in the movie. All right. So I'm about to go mail a couple of these books. So if you can get the book within the next hour, and I will mail you your book and your card will go out today. All right, so you'll have it at least by Friday. If you get it, it goes out today, you'll have it at least by Friday. All right, so again, this is movie time, Moorish movie time. I appreciate y'all, and I'm gonna holler at you in a minute. Peace.